Okay, so hey guys, welcome back to another predictions video, and in today's video I'm going to be predicting the Dickens versus Sosa fight. If you're new around here, then you have to subscribe, please do so, like the video if you like the video, and let's get straight into it. So, going into this fight, Dickens is 32-4 with 12 KOs, and Sosa is 15-2 with 8 KOs. This fight is for the IBO World Featherweight title. Dickens' last fight was a win via unanimous decision versus Dolan, and Sosa's last fight was a win via unanimous decision versus Escuito. So Dickens' losses have come against Galahad in 2021 and 2013, Ward in 2017, and Rigondeaux in 2016. He seemingly struggled against the top level opponents, but other than that, he's seemingly also showed that he should be fighting at that level, and never really, when he has had that step down, he's never really looked bad and never really looked out of place when he's been at the lower levels. But he's always fought good fights at the high level. He's just often just not come out on top, and I mean he's had a few kind of big losses, being the Galahad one especially as of recent, and I know the first one was as well, but the fact that he got it as well in 2021, that was quite a big defeat for him. But he's always been able to rebuild himself and always been able to get back to this position, and it's nice to see that he's getting this kind of shot again, this world title shot again. And to be completely honest, this is probably his best chance of being able to get a world title. I know it's not one of the big sanctioning bodies, but it's still a big deal and definitely his best chance in my opinion. Sosa's losses have come against Carto in 2022 and Pedrosa in 2022. Dickens is 32 and Sosa is 27, so of course a little bit of an age gap there. Of course, Dickens being the older fighter, the more experienced one. He's been fighting for professionally 12 years now, I believe, and so he's been about for a little while. I would arguably say that this is his last opportunity to be able to get a world title. If he loses this, then I don't think he's gonna really have a chance to be able to get back to that level again. I think if he loses this, then I mean, I suppose he could rebuild and possibly come back, but in my opinion, if he loses this, then he's most likely going to be like a bit of a gatekeeper type of fighter, and I'm sure he's not going to be wanting that, going down to probably fighting British level or international level at his highest after this if he does lose. So also on this card is Wasim versus Nietes for the IBO World Bantamweight title, in which I think Nietes will win via unanimous decision. I think he's been through quite a lot in his career, of course, Nietes. I believe he is coming off a loss before this fight, but I still believe that he has the bettering of somebody like Wasim here. I haven't really seen too much in Wasim when I have watched him fight. I mean, the Edwards fight, of course, Edwards is a great fighter, but I've just never really seen enough in it to, in my opinion, show anything. And Nietes, of course, has fought at a high level and is a great fighter on his day, and I'd like to see that old Nietes come out, and I believe it will, and I believe he'll be able to get the victory. Moving back onto the Dickens versus Sosa fight. Dickens, of course, he's experienced, aggressive, gives his all. He's a southpaw who's fought, of course, at a high level. He wants to control the centre. He's hard to figure out. He's got a heavy jab. Of course, like I mentioned, he's rebuilt well to get back to this position. He controls the tempo. He's not ever fallen off. He's best when he's relaxed and he's committed. I think to say committed is a bit of an understatement. From whatever I hear the commentators say whenever I see him fight, he's always kind of bigged up to be the person who's always the last one in the gym and everything like that. And to be fair, credit to him, after being through all what he's been through and in his career especially, and maybe he's not that old, but like he's possible past his prime bits realistically, and the fact that he's still kind of just loving the sport so much and really wanting to get to this point, and being, like I said, suffering so much kind of negativity in the past and getting himself back to this. I'm sure he's going to be more than determined and up for this fight, because like I said, this might be his last one, and like I said, it's probably his best chance. And so yeah, I mean, overall he is a tricky opponent for anybody. Of course, that southpaw kind of aspect and the heavy jab and the attacking aspects, it's difficult for anybody. And the fact that he can control the tempo, turn it up, turn it down whenever he wants, when he's feeling comfortable and relaxed, it is difficult. He has to give it all, because like I said, it may be his last chance. He's not got mad speed realistically. He's not ever really known for his speed. He's not got the best of movement, not the worst either. It's not terrible, it's alright. He can be outboxed. He does take punishment, and He's jumped around coaches a little bit. He's never really fully settled in his career, and if he'd had in his prime, then possibly things could have gone the opposite way for him. But it seems like he's never really fully settled, and now maybe this is the best point of his career mentally wise, and so this could show a really, really good Jazza Dickens here. And of course, there is question marks, and probably certain that he is past his prime unless he does really well here. Sosa as a fighter, he's aggressive, throws with intent, he stalks his opponents down, he also wants to centre. He may fight best in a war. He's got good uppercuts, solid two-shot combinations, not an overall bad fighter. That kind of aggressive aspect is always going to make a fight difficult. It's always going to mean that it's going to be difficult to get him out of there, especially. And the fact that he's also going to be wanting the centre, like I said, may make it a war, but I feel like he's not got the best of movement. So when he does get pushed back, and if Dickens is going to try push Sosa back and they're both going to clash, I feel like Sosa might be more reluctant to give in and kind of go backwards and try and fight off the back. But I just don't think he's got the best of ability fighting off the back foot, and he's not got the best of movements to get himself off the ropes and everything like that. And he is open to be hit. He's never won at a high level realistically. He's not got a massive volume. He struggles with balance a little bit. He leaves himself open when he throws. He does overcommit. He struggles to cut off the ring, and there's all them kind of things that do add up and do play a factor. And I feel like Dickens has beaten opponents at that kind of level and this kind of level before, just never for a world title. And of course, he's going to have that added on pressure as well. Dickens, of course, is the favourite for this fight, and I think that Dickens will win via unanimous decision. I think if he boxes his fight, boxes comfortably, doesn't try and do too much, and just stays relaxed, stays composed, and I'm sure he's more than capable of doing that, then I think he'll win via unanimous decision, like I said. And then possible opponents of where he could go on to fight next. A fight that there's three fights I've put, but two that I really like. So the first one, not most likely, but the winner of the Ford versus Kombatov fight. Seems like that probably won't be happening for a little while anyway, so I've put that as an option, but it probably won't happen. But the other two, so Bull, I think Bull could be a great option to put. I don't think Dickens is really with any kind of promotional company, so he's got a bit more of a free roam, and I'm sure BT and Queensberry are going to be wanting Bull to have these big fights and a world title, even though, like I said, it's not ranked by the biggest of bodies, but still a world title is a big thing for him and probably the next step for him, and so that's definitely a fight I'd like. Or Conlon, another fight I'd love. Realistically, Conlon is still fighting at a very high level, but I'm sure he doesn't want to step down, even though he got that kind of devastating-ish loss. But he does need a big fight still, and there's not really too many other opponents out there that he could face that, unless he takes a big step down, which I'm sure he doesn't really want to at his point in his career. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like if you did, like this, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.